So, first of all, what is impact?
It is immersing motivated participants in academic and career training. And what it is it's a 12-week program altogether. 8 weeks is in-class, intensive workshops, walking them through every stage of really how to be not just employment ready, but how to discover their gifts, their talents, their strengths, their God-given abilities. And then it's 4-week internship afterwards, which is going to lead to employment.
And it's a program within Exodus. Can you just tell us what is Exodus and how?
Absolutely. So what is Exodus? That's a loaded question. Exodus, as we know, is the second book of the Bible. Exodus means to exit. To me, this is more than an organization. This is a mission. This is a calling. This is purpose for me. Exodus means to exit. It means to go from one place to another, really from a place of bondage to a place of freedom and purpose and destiny. That's what Exodus stands for. Now, Exodus Transitional Community, which plays on that theme of redemption and exiting a place of bondage, is a touchstone in the community that is really catered toward people who are re-entering society from prison, re-entering from some sort of incarceration, and looking to rebuild their lives. Now, we service anybody, but that's the focus. And for me, this story is deeply personal because I'm not teaching this from 10,000 feet. I myself was once a lawyer, I was an attorney, and then I was incarcerated in prison. So I've seen both sides of life. So I've seen highs and lows. I've sat with judges and then I've been sentenced by a judge. And so I say that to say that this work is deeply fulfilling to me because when I came out, I was released earlier this year in January. I knew that I could not just return to life as usual. I am deeply grateful to Julio Medina. I walked in these doors as a participant within 2 weeks of being released, and I did the wilderness program. Within 5 weeks, he had hired me to teach the wilderness, which is a 5-day intensive job readiness workshop. But you can't get people ready for jobs in five days. So what I found was people needed more and people wanted more. And so when this opportunity came along for impact, this, again, immersing motivated participants, not just participants, but motivated, people who want more, people who are pushing for more, people who really believe that their lives are more, I knew that I had to be a part of this. And the class has been wonderful. I mean, I must say, I've learned as much as I hope I've given, because I'm traveling my own road of redemption. And so for me, like I said, it's deeply personal, but here I am with people who are motivated. I mean, the class starts at 9 o'clock. You have folks that are getting there as early as 7:30, ready. And we've worked through the frustration. I've seen the growth. And I think that's a good place because I think change comes from a place where you are sort of frustrated. You got to get fed up with being, we have a saying in church, you got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so it is deeply gratifying for me to see people that's come through this program work through what it is that, the frustration, the hurt, everybody from, Elijah, who's young, 24 years old and has all this ambition in front of him and has never been incarcerated, and we're going to keep it that way, to Yul, who has 20 years of experience in facilitating and this great passion for the arts, to Malik, who is extremely stubborn, but I kind of love that about him because I'm stubborn. That being hard to turn, that when you have focus, that laser focus, and I've seen how even he's grown, to Dennis, who's like, I call him like the baby of the group because he's and I say that in the best way possible because he has this childlike energy and spirit and this effervescence and this sense of humor, and I've watched him grow. All the way to James. James did 30 years, which is almost as long as I've been alive. And it takes a humble person to say, look, I'm willing to learn. And he's learned. And I've watched his growth, and I've seen how he's built things. And then, you know, there's Ocasio. His first name is Ario, but I call him Ocasio by his last name. And he's, you know, he's a work of art in himself. You know, he is committed. And, you know, you tell him something, he like latches on like a bulldog. And we're watching him just blossom. And now he's going into some sort of supervisory career. And last but not least, Francis, someone who I was in prison with. I mean, and you know, he told me later, I never knew you had this in you because I was quiet then. But I've watched him. I mean, he was quiet too. And he's actually employed now. So he's going to do an internship, but his is going to be an accelerated kind because through this program that he took the tools and he came to me last Sunday and said, brother, I just got hired, you know, for pretty much my dream job. So to see all of this that has been, you know, we're blessed to be a blessing. And who cares about knowledge if you're not able to share it? So for me to be able to see people grow and learn and build and develop, it's amazing.
What are some of the challenges, whether it's resources or enrollment or keeping people? What are some of the challenges?
Well, you know, first of all, I'll tell you this. The one challenge was space. I mean, this place is growing. So Julio said there's 42 employees. So 2 years ago, there were only 20 people on staff. And you got to think about this. Julio started this 20 years ago. In 18 years, of course, there was growth. He went from 0 to what, 20 employees. In the last 2 years, it's doubled. Since I've been here in March, I have seen, I mean, we're like bustling at the seams. I went from having one person in my office to like 3 people, and you know, I'm on one corner of the desk and the other person is like taking a chair behind me. So the first, we didn't even know where we would do it. When Julio came to me about I.M.P.A.C.T, I said, okay, it's a great program, but where are we gonna do it? Outside? I mean, because the space is so limited, which is a good thing because there's so many people here and it's growing. So that was one of the challenges. We are moving next door to a place that's even twice as big as here. So that's a blessing. So that was the first challenge. The second challenge was I didn't even know if I was capable of this. You know, it kind of made me a little nervous, to be honest. I do think I have a gift of words, and I think God has given me an incredible mind, but it's different when you're on the ground actually teaching people. And I just didn't know if I would be up for the challenge. I mean, you know, what can I say to... It's one thing to give information, but it's different when it's an impartation, and that's what this is. And I didn't know if I was even up for the challenge. Could I, you know, would they listen to me? Would I be even credible enough? And then I'm still working through my own issues. I'm still working through 40 years of my own wilderness experience. You know, people see me and they think, oh, you just got out this year. Like, yeah, I mean, a lot has changed me in this year, and so I'm even working through that. So, and I think the third and last challenge was, how do we make this right? You know, everything I do, I want it to be right. I don't want it to just be another class, another program, another, you know, we just go through the rigmarole and afterwards, you know, we all clap and it's done.
You can do it on the floor.
So, okay, so, you know, and we clap and it's done. I wanted it to be right. I wanted it to be, you know, purposeful. I wanted people to walk away knowing more about themselves, feeling better about themselves, knowing that they can do anything and be anything, and have the practical tools to succeed. Because that's the other piece. Sometimes you have these programs and the person is very inspiring, but then you walk away and it's like, okay, so now what? You know, you've taught me about, you know, some of these, you know, wonderful, theoretical, almost esoteric concepts, but it has no real value for everyday life. So I wanted it to be practical, I wanted it to be purposeful, and I wanted it to be powerful, you know? So that was a challenge for me.
I loved how you said it takes great humility to be able to learn and or to change. Could you just say that again or expand on that just a little bit?
Yeah, so I'll say it this way. I lived throughout all the crises in my life. I lived, and I'll just say this, I was blessed because through an appeal, I just have to say this, was kind of plucked out of prison because I had a release date of 2021, but I was released 3 years early because some things changed far above me. And a scripture that I kind of lived by was, humble yourself under the mighty hand of God and he will exalt you. And so many times we think humility and modesty are the same thing, and it's not. It really isn't. Humility is not a thing that we hold. It's a position, it's a perspective. It's this feeling of, I don't know everything. I can't know everything. I'm a finite being. How can I know everything? And so it takes humility to learn, to grow. And I had to learn this in my own life. I can't tell somebody else this without learning, and I still have to check myself consistently. You can't teach somebody what they already know, and you definitely can't teach somebody what they already think they know. So I think that first place is to say, I don't know. I'm willing to learn, but I don't know. And life has a way of breaking you down. I know that from experience. Life has a way of beating you to your knees. I mean, I say this, I had to work. I graduated at 24 from Harvard Law School as class marshal, mind you. So that means I was the speaker. I was elected to, speak. And to be quite honest, I was hot stuff. Let me tell it. But I quickly learned that our lives are not our own. We are not where we go, or every great thing that happens to us isn't because we're so great. Sometimes it was forces beyond our power. And my problem was a problem of humility, And I thought because I was nice to people and because I said yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, and I never looked down on people, I thought that made me humble. But true humility is that I don't know, I've got to learn, and I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to go through the process. I'm willing to go through the process. And that's my message really for people in general. Don't think you know everything, because you know how they say pride comes before the fall, and it's true, because pride is what tells you, nope, I got this, I figured it all out, when in actuality you really don't have a clue. And the older I get, I'm 33 now, the more that I realize, I look back at me at 24 and I'm like, I really just laugh. And I realize now how much I don't know. And I think that's wisdom to an extent, knowing what you don't know. One other thing, if I could say in closing, is that I am deeply grateful to Julio for this opportunity. And I always remind him of this. He'll come and say, oh, the guys think you're doing wonderful. And I take that as a big compliment. And, oh, you've got these gifts. But the gifts are the seed, but the seed means nothing without the soil. My pastor would say, palm trees won't grow in Alaska, not because the seed is wrong, but because the soil is wrong. And Exodus is the soil that has really allowed me to, again, get my voice back, get my confidence back, get my gifts and my awareness of my gifts back. And I'm deeply grateful to Julio for giving me the opportunity, because as I've poured into others, it's built me back up. So I am really a part of this Exodus story of redemption and coming back swinging from defeat.